could just make sure you leave this right about here.
Okay.
So we're recording right now live on Google Plus, which is really interesting. It's free, it's streaming, it does as well as any streaming, and it goes into YouTube.
Fantastic.
So that's behind the scenes. And then we're going to record for a podcast, which is Timelines of Success. So you ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hillary, I thank you for being here. I know you're busy right now.
Well,
welcome to Timelines of Success.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
That's very good. So people want to know that Hillary owns a business downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And actually Midtown, I should say,
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In Reno, Nevada, but she's also very active. She's on the city council, and on top of everything else, she's running for mayor. So I don't know how you do it. That's three things.
Well, it's nice to be busy.
Well, tell us about your business and how you got into the line of business you're
Okay. I own 2 recycled clothing stores. We basically pay cash for clothes and we turn around and resell them. My market is teenagers, 12 to 24 is our demographic.
Really? I went into your store and
you didn't catch it?
Well, they had adults in there. They actually had quite a few people. I went in this afternoon.
Well,
this morning,
a lot of adults come and shop there too because the prices are incredible.
I have a 12 and 14-year-old. Would they go there?
They would love it.
I've never heard of somebody, and it's a beautiful store. I mean,
yes, they would absolutely love it. But it's very high energy. The music is very high energy, pop, rock. It's a very cool concept. It's just something that I really love because it's all about recycling and taking clothing out of landfill and, making sure that we're being good to the environment. So I love the concept, but I also love the fact that teenagers are really hard on one another, and that they can get brands at extremely affordable prices.
Right. Very expensive to buy. I have a 12 and a 14-year-old girls, and that's the most expensive element probably is the clothing.
And that age group is very, they dictate a lot of their friends and things that they do by brand. And so that's where it's kind of nice that they can come in and buy an Abercrombie shirt or something that's designer oriented that makes them fit in very well. Matter of fact, we do a program for homeless teens and we donate a lot of clothes to homeless teenagers. And I received a letter the other day and it absolutely broke my heart.
I messed up. We got to start again.
Okay.
So Hillary, we caught this on YouTube, but I didn't press my record button. I was just amazed. Hillary, welcome to Timelines of Success.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
This is take 2 because for those out in the podcast and the radio world, I didn't start the recorder until right now. So I was so fascinated with your story.
That's okay.
Hillary is one of the business people going, and I just probably used a few minutes of her time because I didn't hit the recorder here.
No worries.
But that would have been a travesty. We would have had to pull it off of here. But we're in the Reno Collective. We're interviewing Hillary Schieve, and Hillary owns a store in Midtown Reno. And Hillary's going to tell us about the store, but then she's going to tell us a little bit about the other things she does. She's a city council member. Plus, on top of everything else, I don't know how she's doing it. She's running for mayor.
Oh.
So Hillary, go ahead. Tell us about your store.
Well, my store is, it's a concept that I love a lot because it's a very green concept. And what we do is we pay cash for clothes and we turn around, we resell it. But it's a teenage concept. And our demographic is 12 to about 25. And we keep clothes out of landfill and we really practice a green economy. And so it's been fascinating because you have teenagers that it really allows them to fit in and be a part of a culture based on brand. A lot of clothes can be extremely expensive.
Oh, I know that. My daughters are 12 and 14.
Right. So certain
Huge
brands
cost.
are incredibly expensive. And so in my store, they're a fraction of the price. And so they can come in and trade out their clothes and buy new clothes. And so the concept is really great. And it's one that I've had so much fun doing. I employ 37 teenagers.
Wow. And now you've had the store for 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So what did it take to get a store like that going?
Well, I'll tell you a secret. No one probably knows this, but I will tell you. When I was a teenager, I actually shopped in thrift stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I shopped in thrift stores because I'm short. I'm like 5'2", right?
Well, it's not that
So
short. My wife is 5 foot, so she'd love to have those 2
I'll tell you
inches.
why I did. I shopped in thrift stores because all the pants in thrift stores were already hemmed. So I would go to thrift stores to buy pants that were already hemmed. And so I kind of actually started thrifting a long time ago, but I remember a lot of my friends coming over and looking through my closet, and they had no idea that I've been shopping at thrift stores, but they all wanted to shop in my closet.
Right. In fact, you get some better clothes in some aspects.
Absolutely. And plus I like the concept of recycling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I've actually done my whole life, but I also love the fact that in my business, teenagers can fit in with one another. and we work with a homeless teenage youth group. And I received a letter the other day, and it broke my heart, but it said that because of all the clothing that we donate, that a lot of the children that she went to high school with didn't know that she was homeless because she could fit right in based on what she was wearing.
That's good. And
Yeah,
that's
so
really good.
so it is. Yeah, it's nice. I think that concept is twofold, and also for the parents, they don't have a lot of money to spend on
Right.
clothes, and you know how expensive teenagers get.
So what motivated you? Well, you want to do it because it's a good business. It's a green business and
Right.
to help kids. And so are there challenges with running the business towards how much capital does it take if someone wants to do what you're doing?
Well, it all depends. I see. That's one thing too, is that we have a buy side, so we pay cash on one side. And so remember, in the economy, when you have a bad economy, not everyone needs to buy clothes, but everyone needs to sell. So you have to be very careful about the distribution of cash and how you're handling that. And so that can be incredibly tricky. So it's just been kind of fascinating. And I will tell you this, when we opened, took a couple of years to be successful. And then we decided that we were getting so successful that we needed to expand
into the store you're in
right
now.
Exactly. So actually, that's how I ended up getting into politics. When I was expanding my store, I had to move my sign 2 feet, and the city came out and said, well, you've got to get a permit for that. So I thought, no, okay, not a big deal. Went down to City Hall, and they said, well, actually, that'll be $5,000. And I thought, what? To move a sign 2 feet? And they said, yes. So it really was a huge eye opener for me. So what I did is that night I went to a business group, and everyone was sort of complaining about the city and how expensive it was and how expensive it was to do business in the city. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to do something about it, and I'm going to run for office. So that's what I did. It's been 2 years now.
Oh, you've been on the council for 2 years. So that happened a little over 2 years ago.
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago. And the economy was really bad.
It was terrible.
2008 and 9.
Yes.
And the cities really didn't have enough money.
Yeah.
They still, well, that's another whole issue. Since you're on council, you understand the financial issues.
Absolutely. And not to mention too, at the time, the part of town that that my store is in, it was very dilapidated.
Called Midtown.
And it's now called the Midtown District.
Right.
That was founded by myself and Jessica Schneider and Chris Thompson from Sushi Pier. So all three of us got together and decided that this was a good time to start a district. And it was pretty interesting because when we went around to the other businesses and we told them what we wanted to do, people they were shocked. They were like, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. And so we were bound and determined to get it done. And matter of fact, we've passed out flyers telling all the businesses, hey, we're having a Midtown meeting. Please join us. And when we had that meeting, only 2 people showed up. And so Midtown's thriving today, but I think that people have to understand Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So these things take a lot of time, but the process of Midtown has been incredibly organic. And so what we did was Jessica Schneider and I, we got together and we said, well, people must have forgot the date on the flyer. That, you know, this was such a great idea. Everyone would love it. Well, so we went out, we passed out flyers again, and we thought, okay, well, we'll get people coming to our Midtown district, and passed out this flyer. Then one person showed up. So we thought something is really wrong. So I walked into her office and she was crying. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, this is a terrible idea. No one likes it. And I said, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, and let's just have a vision of 5-10 years and move forward and go from there. So she took $5,000. I took $5,000, and we created a commercial for Midtown. Did you ever see it?
No,
well,
I don't
good.
think I have.
That's good, because it was terrible.
I can Google it, maybe find it on
No,
YouTube.
it was terrible. It was okay. But anyway, so what that commercial did, not that it changed the perception for Reno, but what that commercial did was change the perception for the business owners in that district. And so when we had another meeting after that, we had 32 businesses that showed up for that meeting. So that's really how Midtown sort of
evolved.
That's how it evolved. And not to mention, I think you have to realize we were in a recession. People wanted something to believe in. And so it was done extremely organic. We also worked with landlords that have been sitting in these vacant buildings for a long time. and worked with them and asked them if we put entrepreneurs in these buildings, would they be willing to work with them and give them a percentage of rent or things, very creative financing, things of this nature. And it really worked. So it goes to show you, but I'm not so sure. Like I said, I think we were lucky actually to be in a recession because people wanted so badly to believe in something.
Right. No, and your business started right before the recession though, didn't it?
My business, I opened it in 2007.
That's right before the turn.
When we start. Right.
Wow. So you're lucky you even survived a new business.
Right.
At least it was basically you take the kids' clothes, but they look like adults' clothes in there too.
Well, they are. I mean, they're still.
They're fancy.
Well,
nice gowns.
Fancy, nice. Well, yes and no. It depends. It depends on what you're looking for. Most of that is all very mall-based brands, so that's very trendy and it's very current.
Right. Just a side note. I was in the Bay Area. I've spent a lot of my mid years in the Bay Area, and there are a lot of nice stores with high-end suits and great clothes that are second used, barely used, especially in Silicon Valley.
Very common in the Bay Area.
And up and down the Bay Area, very nice. But you don't see that over here.
Not as much. You don't see it here as much. I think we get the trends just a little bit later.
Right.
Than the Bay
I
Area.
agree. We definitely are. I can see the trends fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is primarily in the real estate business. We have a small real estate company in Central California, and she's over here now, and she actually has her brokers here. But there are definitely differences in trends. You can see it.
Absolutely. Definitely different.
So it sounds like you just stay persistent and you got it going and you got your shop going. You're in counsel. You're doing a lot of different things.
Right.
We always talk about an entrepreneur is multi sources of income.
Oh,
so you got your business, you got a little from the counsel.
We're multitaskers for sure.
Right. But I know the hours you put in counsel. Tell us in about 5 minutes a little bit about what it's like running a business and being on a city council.
Well, at first it was challenging. I will tell you, there is a huge learning curve getting into city council and learning. There's a huge process. I mean, all the acronyms by themselves, that's enough, right? But you still have to learn the process of planning. You have to learn the process of NRS and things of that nature.
Right.
And if you have never really been surrounded by it, it's something that it definitely takes time. So you really do have to study and be prepared. And it's one of those things that you can work 24 hours if you want to, which is so great. But that's kind of how I am. I'm a very hard worker and I love to work. And
so the question is, easy. What's the cost to move the sign now? If I want to move a sign or put up a sign.
Well, I'm happy to say that because I'm so persistent in what I do, that those fees are now half.
Why were the fees so high? Normally building is based on the actual cost of inspections.
Well, they came to me and said that was a special use permit.
Right. So, on a sign?
Right.
There's a special use on signs?
Right. Well, it turned out that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because they always charge extra 50, 100% or whatever.
Right. So anyway.
Special use. So it's got to have a hearing and all the paperwork.
Right. Right.
Oh, my.
So you have to be really, really persistent. But that's kind of what I'm known for. I'm actually known to be this champion for small business. A lot of small businesses call me and they say, hey, we're having this issue or that issue. And I think, especially in a recession, you have to look at where they're coming from. These people are investing a lot of money in their businesses to get them up and going, and they need all the help they can get.
Right. No, that's good. And the other side too is in the city, you have to deal with all sorts of other problems, and it must take you a little bit away from your business.
Sure.
So, but you've empowered people to run your business, right? That's what allows you to do other things. And
absolutely. I mean, the biggest key is finding great people, because honestly, if you surround yourself with great people, it pays off tenfold, because you also have to realize that's one thing is I never think that I'm the smartest person in the room. I always try to look at everyone and say, what can I learn from that person? And I think all the teenagers that work for me, I feel the same way. I look at them and they teach me things every day. And so it's sort of that give and take. But I will tell you, I'm so blessed, but I really do try to empower them. And you got to remember with teenagers, it's a different way of motivation. At home, they might not be very well liked, but when they come to my store, that's their environment.
How do you market in your store? If you don't mind, will be the last question about your store.
Well, no, and that's interesting. Because my demographic is so different. My demographic is incredibly different than most businesses. So you have to really understand the new age of technology. Technology is huge, as you know.
Social networking
Twitter.
with kids. I've got the 12 and 14-year-old. Even my son who's older, he's out of that
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you've got to have Twitter, you've got to have Instagram, you've got to have Facebook. We've played around with Snapchat. Different technology moves very fast. Teenagers
Right.
move very fast, and so you have to be very relevant. And I'm not so sure that there's that spray and pray advertising, right? And that's the traditional advertising. And I just think that there's such a culture shift in technology today, and that's really what we focus on in my business. And also, word of mouth is huge.
The kids that
The
have to help.
viral.
Oh, I was just thinking of the social media with the kids because they're going
Sure.
to tweet constantly. And if you got tons of tweets going,
Yeah.
people don't understand that. I'm really frustrated. I'm a baby boomer,
Uh-huh.
but I've been around technology overseas in the military in my
Yeah.
business.
And well, I
design,
can
build,
tell your
construction.
setup here is
Well, I had to
fantastic.
actually, I left about 5 years ago in a special program and used all government military systems, and they're actually outdated. I had to relearn everything, the cloud, the
Wow.
systems, because when I started 7 years ago, it was all, I had Exchange server, pop email,
Wow.
but now it's all
Mhm.
cloud-based and
Yeah.
streaming, and it's changed so much. But kids
Changes.
are right there. My daughter, who's 14, she'll have the most latest social technology.
Sure.
And then you sort of build onto that and
Sure.
things they try to
And
do.
then they get bored really fast. That's the other thing I noticed. They want to jump off one thing and then jump off, to
But-
something else.
Yeah, but it's still there. It's moving so fast.
Uh-huh.
But what frustrates me is when you get over 50, it starts dropping off.
Uh-huh.
And if people would get back into it, that's why these podcasts are on demand. We cut the TV in our house. We have the ears, of course,
Sure.
but we don't. We just have streaming media and digital media because that's the future.
But absolutely it is. And I just think that's exactly where, as cities, that we need to look at is technology, innovation. These
Right.
are the things that make a city relevant.
Oh, there's so many other elements though here. Unlike a normal city, Reno is a wonderful place for. In closing, in the first element, I'm going to ask you to do a commercial for Reno because if someone's from Reno, I always ask them to do a commercial. What do you like most about Reno, and why are you here?
Well, oh my gosh, like you said, there's a million reasons, and we have one of the best backyards in the country. I mean, look at where we live. It's incredibly beautiful, and I think Reno is beginning to thrive again. We're having companies like Tesla, Amazon, and Apple build and invest
Right.
here.
Apple was quiet about them being here for a long time. You couldn't find that they were here. They've been here for a while. People just didn't realize it.
Right, and
It
some
was quiet.
companies
And
sort of
now
go
they're not
under
so
the
quiet.
radar.
They've got the
Mhm.
cloud plant going in and
Yeah.
Tesla. So
Yeah,
Sure.
and so I think we're sort of this little secret mini Silicon Valley.
I think we're changing.
Yeah,
I
are.
always wanted to move here. In
sure.
fact, I was jealous after being in Central California. But we're right next to 45 million people in California.
Yeah.
And Nevada is very small. We're a couple million people, a little over a couple million. And Reno is only the size of Modesto,
Right,
where I came from.
right.
And so there's unlimited potential here.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and this is a little side note I noticed.
Sure.
We have about 3 police officers per 1,000. Is that right? About somewhere in there. I don't want to quote you. I know
Yeah.
that Modesto was 1.6. Whatever it is, you have more police officers here.
hmm
And I assume it's because on the weekends we get so much larger.
Well, I think too, yes, because of special events and
Yeah,
things of
especially
that
we have,
nature.
and that's why I love it here
Yes.
too, because there's so much to do.
There is so much to do, but I still worry
Oh, there
about
are.
our public safety here as a region. I mean, we are down to levels of 1977.
Oh,
So-
in Manning.
And yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
but we have more of a
yes.
task here too because of the number of activities.
yes,
and
I
the
think
trend
we're
and Highway 80.
community. Yeah,
And we got a university. Oh, that's another thing.
Right.
We have the university.
and we have the university, but I think too, our community, we really have a big sense of community here.
Right.
And that's one thing, especially, I mean, we were just talking about the police. They are incredibly ingrained in our community.
Yep.
And
I've had good experiences
have you?
with the school
Yes.
police already.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got
School
amazing experience with it because
Yeah.
I've had daughters and
Uh-huh.
I had a daughter with lost an iPhone. They recovered it. And the way
Yeah.
they handled it was excellent.
Yes.
I mean, I'm impressed.
Yes, I am too.
And the school police, they fall under the school board, but are they
yes,
hooked
they're
into
under the school
city?
district.
The
Yes.
school, the school
Mhm.
district. But are they hooked into the city police at all?
Well, I know that they have a very close working relationship.
Right, but they're separate. They're
Mhm.
separate.
And
funding.
especially now because the incident that happened in Sparks.
Right.
So-
that was one of the sad things.
Right, horrible. And so I think that they've done a lot of outreach to one another and work.
And the vehicles look the
very-
same. They work
yes,
very closely.
Yes, and they work very closely with one another.
So, quick question, in council. This is really getting on a side note.
Sure.
Do they can they give tickets around the campus for speeding and stuff? I love the
Yes,
15
they
mile.
do.
if you come to Reno, you
Mhm.
got to remember to go 15 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
I love that because in California, where I'm from, it's 25.
I was
but
going to say,
people,
is it
it's not really
25?
enforced real well.
Right,
And I've got kids. I'm always concerned about safety.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
We've
I like
always
that.
been like that. And I think it's important.
Yeah.
Pedestrians, we have actually a high rate of pedestrian deaths from,
I'm
from
surprised.
cars. Yes.
It's a great bike town.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
one
a
of the best.
fantastic bike town. It's still, but it's one of those things you still have to remind people.
Is that downtown primarily? And
Yeah, well, it's all over. And matter
Really?
of fact, one of the reasons too, another thing that if I'm fortunate enough to be mayor, I would work on more grants and things of that nature so that we can put in more crosswalks and
that's
things like that.
yeah. I haven't seen a lot of the higher end flashing crosswalks. things of
Right.
that
And so
nature.
that's exactly what we're talking
That's
about.
true. Those help a
is-
lot. Just
yes.
pedestrian calming features.
Absolutely.
Right. You do on your new
Absolutely.
designs. I think you've got some roundabouts. I'm not sure.
Yes, we do. We
Pedestrian-
have several roundabouts. And so those
Mhm.
those are the things that I think
Those
we
are.
also need to really focus on, because I think that it's really been I would say in the last 2 years the numbers have gone up substantially.
I'm really surprised, but
Mhm.
it does happen. Well, let's go on to the bottom line up front questions. I call them. They're kind
Okay.
of fun questions.
All right, good.
Do you have a Mac or PC, and what type of cell phone do you use?
I have a PC, but I was just contemplating getting a Mac, and the type of cell phone I use is a Apple 5.
Uh-huh.
And what else? What was
That was about it. And that's
Yeah.
you use both sides. And I'm sure in the city they probably use the PCs.
Yes.
It's all PC based
Mhm.
engineering communications. But the Mac is real nice for social media and simplicity. The
Well,
Air is real nice too.
Exactly. And I think the lack of virus.
Oh yeah,
So,
and the lack in the simplicity,
Yeah.
and they always work. And we've got an Apple store here in Reno,
yes.
which is amazing. The benefit you can get from the Apple store,
Yeah, I love that place. I could spend hours in there.
and they'll help you. The Genius Bar is free.
Yes.
People don't realize that. You can just go in there. So, what are some of your favorite technologies?
Let's see. The last one that I used was Uber.
Yep.
I love Uber. I think it's fantastic. When I travel,
I've got to try
use
Uber.
Oh, you're
I
gonna love
heard
it when you travel.
A lot of my friends have used it.
I hope
California.
we do get it here in Reno.
So we don't have it here.
No, we don't have it here. But
Is there licensing required or some kind of?
I don't know. And I
Wow.
actually am going to reach out to them and see if we can sit down and talk about getting them in Reno. I think it's a strong possibility, but whenever I travel,
I thought it was
Uber's
everywhere. Just about.
fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, and what are the other technologies you like? They're good for the city.
Well, let's see. There's one called Be Heard. I'm going to give them a shout out. They're local and they are all about connecting people with government and being able to make sure that everyone has a voice, and it's all here locally. And it's technology that I think that it could really change the way that citizens engage with government.
Very good. I'll have in the notes, the show notes, I'll have links to all of these.
Perfect.
And I'll look them up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Great.
So, what quote best motivates you? What quotes do you like?
Well, I have a lot of quotes, but the one that I like a lot is it's the grains of the sand that make the beach. And the reason I really like that is because I think working together and collaboratively is really essential. And I think that you cannot be successful by yourself. I think you need a team. I think you need to be surrounded by people, great people that are around you. Those are the people that help you get to be successful.
So the beach is made up by the grains, and they all come together.
Absolutely. I couldn't run for mayor or do the things that I do if it wasn't for the support and the love of the people that surround me.
Right, especially running for office.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions
Sure.
at the end, since about your run for office too.
Sure.
And then, what is your favorite author and book?
Right now, I really like Gary Vaynerchuk. I read Crush It, The Thank You Economy. I love his stuff. He's got a lot of high energy, and he's also, and you probably know, he's very connected to technology.
Right.
And so, yeah, lately I've been reading a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk.
I interviewed quite a few people. I interviewed about 100 people in the last 4 months.
Okay.
And most of them are baby boomers, but some aren't. That's the first time Gary Vaynerchuk has come up, but I know him
Really?
so well, and I know all the books that you talk about. I'm really impressed.
Well, I'm impressed that you know Gary.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've listened to him. I've listened to his books actually through books online because I drive or work a lot.
Yeah.
I read too, but
Yeah, I know. I'm impressed that you know him. I think honestly, if you can pick up Crush It, and it's an
Crush It's
easy
good.
read.
You know,
It's small. It's a
yeah,
small book, and it's an easy read. But if you're thinking about getting into social media or putting your business online,
right.
it's an absolute
He
must.
took a family wine business and made it into a
Made it in
multi-million
Milton.
dollar
Yeah.
business. I think your business probably is so successful because you using social media
Well,
at a
sure.
young
I
age.
think it's it's so relevant today. I mean, it would, I guess, depend on the business, but I mean, in any aspect, I'm sure any business, there's some way that you can utilize or leverage social media.
Right. So very good. So in closing, what do you like to do in your off time when you're not working 50, 60 hours a week as a council member, watching your store?
Right,
You don't
right.
have any time.
You know what? I'm an information junkie. So honestly, I'm online doing a lot of research, reading. I love to read. I love to read Entrepreneur magazine. That's one thing I love more than anything is being an entrepreneur. I could think of a new business idea every day, and so that's what I love to do in my spare time is work on my other, you know, side businesses. I've got like a technology little business that I like to
What
do.
type of technology business do you have?
And
Now this is another
it's
business.
an app actually.
Oh, an app. Okay.
It's a fashion app.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, it's a fashion
So
app.
you have programmers working with you.
Right. We just started,
Wow.
and so so those are the kinds of things that I love to do whenever I'm not doing council work.
Yeah, oh, that busy people stay busy.
Yeah.
Do you get out to enjoy this beautiful outdoors here and Lake
Absolutely.
Tahoe, the skiing?
Well, in my last life, I was a competitive figure skater.
Oh, very good. My
Right.
wife is a good skater.
Wow.
She's from Boston.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Very good skater.
Yeah.
I've seen her skate. I'm not. I'm from
You're
West
not
Coast.
good.
I can ski, but I can't skate.
Well, good. Well, we can drag her out to our little temporary rink that'll be here in the winter.
She was out there last year.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I
Isn't
love
that
watching her,
great?
and she's a good. I mean, West Coasters.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you from? Where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised here in Reno.
Congratulations. Where'd you go to high school?
Reno High.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good school.
Yeah.
Just another advertisement. When I came
Sure.
here, we looked at schools and we felt
That's what they
Did you
call
go there?
I didn't go there. I went to Jesse Beck.
Okay.
So-
They're all good schools.
Yeah,
All
they are good schools.
So, I mean, in closing, what's the most important takeaway from your interview for the listener? If you would pass to them, and there's so much that you've done. I mean, you're a very busy person, and your community service, you're running a business.
Well, I think that Reno is at a tipping point. I think I think we really are changing as a city in so many ways. I think the perception of Reno is going to change dramatically. I think that our town is beginning to thrive again.
It's been changing for 20 years because of the Indian
Absolutely.
casinos and legalization of gambling across the United States.
Absolutely.
We're not Las Vegas. But we've
right.
we never were Las Vegas.
Right. And I think that there's a lot of things that are happening in Reno that are right. But one thing for me, one of the reasons why I really wanted to run for mayor is because I really wanted to change the tone and the culture of our city. And I also believe that everyone at City Hall should have a voice, not just a select few. And so the other reason is I really wanted a downtown that people would come here and be very proud of and want to visit here. And that's something that I will focus on is really diving into our downtown. Like I have a blight reduction initiative and things of this nature, work on the motels that are downtown.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I definitely want to jump into, but that's really one thing that my experience with the Midtown district has been so valuable, and I want to use that experience and move it right into downtown.
Very good. And you did a great job in Midtown. I'm really impressed.
Thank
That's
you.
where I try to encourage my wife to start her
Oh,
office.
well, thank you.
Move
But
around the
again,
school.
it's the grains of the sand that make
Very
the
good.
beach.
Well, Hillary, how can the listener get a hold of you and find you? online?
I have a 5-point plan at hillaryforreno.com, so you can check that out. My personal cell phone number actually is right on that website. So that's probably the best way to reach me is at hillaryforreno.com.
Well, it's perfect. I wish I could go longer, but once you're elected, we'll go into some more detail.
Thank you. Very kind.
So thanks. Take
Thank you
care.
very much.
Let me turn this off.
Hey.